What's going on, everyone? Back again for week 2 of the NFL season. Week 1 was pretty good for the most part. Um, as you know, I made a whole bunch of picks last week, as well as made some bold predictions as far as division winners, and a potential playoff picture. And we're going to be doing a week 2 picks of who I think, again, winners and losers of the week. I'm not going to really make any more bold predictions as far as division changes in the leaders or a different playoff picture. We'll do that maybe later on, a few weeks from now. Last week I made a whole bunch of picks, a couple bold predictions. As much as I thought it would pan out for me and have a perfect pick of the week, it turned out I was 11-4-1 because, as we know, Kyler Murray tried to bring the Arizona Cardinals back to a last-minute fourth-quarter victory, and he got so close yet so far. So I was 11-4-1. I'll call it 11-4-1. I don't want to really call it 11-5. So I finished 11-4-1. Not too bad for a week 1 where every team is undecided as to how exactly they're going to start the season. There were some upsets that I didn't see coming, and it cost me, some losses. But here we are, week 2. So let's go ahead and get started. First game of the week, our Thursday night game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go on to face the Carolina Panthers. Now, it's in Carolina. There's going to be some weather conditions, but Christian McCaffrey, I think, will come in and have a pretty solid game. I think that the Bucs, while they put up a fight against San Francisco and ultimately lost, Carolina put up a pretty good game against the Rams. So I see a pretty big victory for them as far as that game goes. On to the Sunday football game. We're going to start off with the San Francisco 49ers and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, San Francisco's coming off of a win. Bengals are coming off of a loss, but Bengals are at home. I take the Cincinnati Bengals. I take Cincinnati Bengals to win that game. San Diego Chargers are heading to Detroit. Now, Detroit is at home. They tied the Arizona Cardinals. They couldn't win, and neither could the Cardinals. And the Chargers are coming off of a win. Some people may say that the Detroit Lions are going to upset the San Diego Chargers this week. I'm not on that train. I'm on the train that, as much as I don't want the Chargers to win, as everybody knows, I'm a Chiefs fan. In this, it's all about picking who I think is going to win, and I'm going with the San Diego Chargers. The next game is the Minnesota Vikings at Green Bay Packers. Now, Minnesota, in my opinion, upset Atlanta last week and pretty badly. Atlanta really cost me last week. And while I don't want to sit there and say that the Minnesota Vikings are the top contenders, Green Bay came into Chicago last week, put up an outstanding defensive game, even with a mildly average offensive game. I think Green Bay at home, Aaron Rodgers is going to kick into gear, and I think that while the Vikings they definitely showed last week what they can do, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to do what Aaron Rodgers does, and he's going to lead them to that victory. On to the Indianapolis Colts at the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee last week really shocked me by just demolishing the Cleveland Browns, and I mean, if that didn't say something, take this with a grain of salt. We don't really know what the Browns are capable of this year. We all would expect, based off of the moves they made in the offseason, they're going to be a top contending team. We're just going to have to see how it goes. The Browns thought they were really high up here, and Tennessee, I guess, put them in their place, or at least showed them, hey, look, you're going up against us. Tennessee said, you're gonna play us, we're gonna play you. And Tennessee put up a good game last week. The Colts barely lost to the Chargers without Andrew Luck. And like I said, they're gonna still be a pretty solid team, but without Andrew Luck, it does make that slight difference. Now, Indianapolis has come into Tennessee and won the majority of most recent games against the Titans. But in this situation, Titans are at home. I take the Titans to win. Next up is the New England Patriots at Miami Dolphins. I mean, if Miami losing by over 40 points last week to the Baltimore Ravens and then players calling their agents that they want to leave the team doesn't show you that this team is in shambles, I don't know what will. This is a no-brainer. New England's going to win. Simple. In our next game, we have the Buffalo Bills taking on the New York Giants. The game is at home for the New York Giants, but I think after Buffalo's what I would call upset, as I picked the Jets to win last week, both the Bills and the Giants didn't really prove that much last week. I think Buffalo comes in and takes out the Giants. The next game is the Seattle Seahawks at Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Seattle did pull off a win against Cincinnati last week, but it wasn't really the prettiest game or a real defining win for them. Now, on the other hand, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who literally just got mopped by the New England Patriots. I think this week Pittsburgh's going to come in. They're at home. They need to definitely show that last week is not who they are as a team. I think they come into this game with something to prove, and I think that they come in and they put a hurting on Seattle and they come out with the win. My next pick is the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins. If anyone was watching that Eagles and Redskins game last week, you would have seen that the Redskins led for the majority of that game. But on the other hand, Dallas is a pretty solid-looking team, and they looked really good last week. Redskins let the Eagles come back and win that game. I think the Redskins will have a really good game against the Dallas Cowboys, especially with the rivalry going on. But I take Dallas. Dallas will come in and have a great game, even in Washington. The next game up is Arizona Cardinals at the Baltimore Ravens. Two things will tell you exactly what you need to know about this game. The Cardinals tied to the Detroit Lions last week, and Lamar Jackson put up 4+ touchdowns with a 158.3 passer rating against the Miami Dolphins, and they're looking to get that number 2 win at home in Baltimore, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's another routing game. Kyler Murray still has a lot to prove, but I think against this Baltimore team, he's going to come up short. The next game is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Houston Texans. Jacksonville lost Nick Foles. They're running with their backup quarterback right now, so their offense is a little bit short-handed. The defense last week against Kansas City put up 46 points against them. Defense is still not what they were a few years ago, and you have Houston coming in. I think the Texans are mad after that loss. They come out of that game knowing that a couple different plays would have made the difference, and they gave it their all against Drew Brees. I think they come in and I think they get the win that they thought they deserved last week, and they take the W at home. Next game up is Kansas City at Oakland. Now, don't come at me with, hey, Oakland won last week. You said Denver was going to come in and mop them. I was wrong. That doesn't mean Oakland is a top team this year. I'm sorry. I still don't believe the hype that Oakland is a top team. Kansas City put up 46 points against the Jacksonville Jaguars and held them to only 20 points. Sammy Watkins came in with 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. Yes, Tyreek Hill is hurt, but you forget there are so many other offensive weapons that Patrick Mahomes has at his disposal. And I think it's going to be a blowout. I think Kansas City upsets Oakland at home. Chicago Bears at Denver Broncos. Now, Denver Broncos came out and Denver Broncos went out to Oakland and they got demolished. The Chicago Bears had a heck of a great defensive game against Green Bay. Their offense couldn't win it for them. Between who's going to take home the W in this game, I'm leaning towards Chicago. And I say that because Chicago's defense is going to come in and they're going to hit hard just like they did week 1. The offense is going to make some adjustments and play slightly better. I'm going to lean towards Chicago on this one. And let's hope that they don't let me down. Our next game, in my opinion, is the game of the week. You're not going to want to miss this game. It's the New Orleans Saints at the LA Rams. You got the NFC Championship game rematch that everybody knows. All came down to one decisive call at the end of the game. Pass interference not called. You can argue it however you want. In my opinion, the ref missed it. And I think New Orleans is out for blood, and I think that they're going to come into this game. And look, I know they don't have as good of a defense as LA Rams. That's for sure. And it's going to be a shootout between him and Goff. I don't think that Todd Gurley is playing with the same firepower he did last year. I don't know what's going on with Todd Gurley, but I think that the Saints offense will have that slight edge. Their defense will do just enough to hold off the Rams, and I think that with how angry they are over last year, I think the Saints come in and they win. But this is going to be the game to watch. I guarantee you that. And now on to the Sunday Night Football game. Sunday Night Football is the Philadelphia Eagles going to Atlanta to play the Falcons. This is a tough game. It doesn't seem like it's a tough game. Minnesota came in, put the hurting on Atlanta, but Atlanta is known to have very good home games against teams. But the Eagles at the same time are feeling pretty good about that comeback that they had against Washington. I still think that Philly is a top team. I still think Carson Wentz is going to have a great game. I think it's going to be a battle of the quarterbacks here, right? I think the game of the week's going to go to the Saints and the Rams, but the game of the battle of the quarterbacks is going to be this game right here. It's going to be Matt Ryan versus Carson Wentz. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think the defenses are going to have to put up what they can. I think Atlanta's going to have the home field edge. But when it's all said and done, Atlanta hurt me last week, so I'm not feeling too happy with them. Philly did pull out the W. I'm going to go with Philly. So now for the final game of the week, you have the Cleveland Browns going to New York to take on the Jets. The Browns disappointed me last week. I really thought they were going to come in and show what they could do with all this talent on their team, and they did not. On the other hand, the New York Jets, I had picked them last week to beat Buffalo, and they had a 16-0 lead up until the end of the game where they let Buffalo come back to win 17-0. And they missed some field goals. I think that this Monday night game is not going to be a big game to watch. I mean, I think it's going to be a low-scoring, less than 25 points each team game. But I'm still going to hang in there with my call that the Browns are going to be a strong team this year. Not to mention the starting quarterback of the New York Jets, Sam Darnold, has mono. So they're out their starting quarterback. So not only are the Jets an average team this year, they let the Buffalo Bills come back to win last week, but now their starting quarterback is out with mono, going up against the Cleveland Browns, who really are going to come in here to show that, look, last week we got handed to us a loss. We're here to show that we're a contending team. We're not just a fluke. So I expect the Browns to come in and have a really good game against the Jets. I don't think it's going to be like this amazing game. I think it's going to be like a 24-17 type of game or 24-10 type of game. But I do think the Browns will come out with the win. Anyways, that's my picks of the week. I don't really have an upset of the week. My game of the week to watch is, of course, the New Orleans Saints versus the LA Rams. That's really all I got this week. Pretty short and simple. We'll have to see how it goes by Monday night. And I'll start working on my week 3 winners and losers picks. We'll have to see how my record is by that point. Hopefully still a positive winning record. Again, if you guys like my videos, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you need to subscribe. You need to go like it and comment and everything. If you like my videos, let me know. Put a comment. Let's debate. If you don't agree with my picks for the week, I'm always down for that. And go ahead and tune in every time I have a new YouTube video. If you want, you can subscribe. You can click the bell next to my name for the notifications, so that when these videos are posted, you know, and you can watch. Anyways, thanks again. Catch you on the next one.